So you get a 5-minute warning and a 1-minute warning.
Do you want me to get a timer on it?
I've got a timer on the camera here,
Okay.
so
But it doesn't go like beep.
I guess,
Like,
oh,
No.
yeah.
I have to remember to look. Okay, let me, oh dear, wrong way.
Okay, yeah, perfect, thanks.
Okay. Jordan's jumping for joy. Good. Good to see. Okay, so anytime you're ready, go ahead and start.
Good evening, Mr. Fassler. In 1990, you and your wife founded a small company, Fassler Gourmet, based on the potential of a very particular market, smoked barley to be precise. This started your journey towards what is now a culture-driven, diversified, and successful business. My associates, Felix, Victor, Ben, and myself, Jordan, were very impressed by your entrepreneurial spirit and your dedication to innovation. The resiliency of yourself and your employees is very evident through the success that your company has achieved throughout the ups and downs of the industries that it services. From here, we would like you to now start planning for your future, proactively planning for your future, now that you have gained stability through a diversified line of products. Currently, your challenges include a lack of succession planning, an aging workforce, and fading personal motivation as you try to keep yourself engaged in what your company is doing today. The solution for this would be to diversify further your product line and hand over your company to someone within your organization. By innovating and succession planning, we will achieve the impact of you being able to pursue your passion of cooking, and we'll be able to ensure the long-term financial success of Fassler Gourmet. To reiterate the issues that your company is facing, that you personally are facing right now when leading your company, would be the lack of succession planning in order to turn over those business operations. Throughout your time running for Fassler Gourmet, you have been able to be very reactive to the market around you, and you have used your own personal skills and expertise, and you've learned very well from your experiences by running this company, and we want you to be able to pass off those points of knowledge onto somebody else within your company. Your old workforce is something that needs to be cherished, yet at the same time needs to start working towards a plan in order to transition your new generation of employees into your company. Finally, we want to make sure that our solution addresses your passions. We want you to get back to what it is you love to do so that you're reinvigorated for a few more years within your company before you're ready to step away and retire from it. First off, let's take a look at that aging workforce. Something that I really want to highlight here is the success that those employees have had while at your company. In 2006, you doubled the square footage of your production facilities, and with that, over 6 years, you were able to match that double of square footage in income. So from 2006 to 2012, your income per square foot has actually stayed consistent. However, when looking at the amount of employees that you have working between 2006 and 2012, it's quite incredible to see the amount of money that each one of those employees was able to generate in the beginning, and each one was able to generate in 2012. So as you can see here, an increase of over $110,000 per employee per year. This just goes to show you how valuable that experienced workforce really is, and how you really need to leverage the experience and knowledge of that workforce in order to build your 2006 to 2007, you have increased the production capacity by double. And in just 1 year, there's a sharp increase of income. And in 2009 to 10, you have added new selling channels. Even though this is after the financial meltdown, you have managed to increase your income by diversifying customers again, which is to add the retail channel into your factory outlets. And not only that, the retail channel customers has now been a solid customer base for you to recover costs for those unwanted heads and tails that the commercial customers do not want. So the key takeaway is, Mr. Fassler, you have done an incredible job to creatively innovate and make Fassler Gourmet a successful company. However, given these creative innovations to solve issues or embark on new opportunities, we have seen that you have taken a very reactive attitude towards these situations. For example, in the first year of your operation of Fassler Gourmet, there was a substantial increase of operating costs, and as such, to mitigate the costs, the increase in costs, you use the OPEX to produce the seafood terrines so that you can sell it at a very high contribution margin to the customer to recover some of those operating costs. Again, when you start taking those airline customers, because the airlines request for more different tastes to compete with each other airlines, you react again by adding more flavors or adding different product range to satisfy your customers. And then as I have said before, using the end products or the unwanted products to make soup to increase the revenue to diversify customers. And as Fassler Gourmet grow, you try to encourage customers to be demanding. We start seeing a little bit of proactivity here, but overall, you have been relatively reactive towards the situations, the issues, and the opportunities presented to you. And we think that to make Fassler Gourmet a more successful company in the future, you have to take a more proactive attitude, or at least make your employees to have more proactive solutions to overcome these issues, challenges, and opportunities. So today, we are going to help you decide whether or not you're going to sell the company and retire directly, or take your train one of your managers for succession plan and leave your legacy in good hands. And our alternative one is to sell and retire immediately. The benefits of this alternative is that you can finally have your long-earned retirement and do whatever you want, travel, and to finally enjoy what you have missed when you're working very hard for your own company. Not only that, you would have immediate cash upon selling Fassler Gourmet. Based on the information you provided to us, we believe that Fassler Gourmet could worth at least 13.8 million to even more. However, the cons of this alternative is that you would leave your family in the company, your employees behind with no succession plan, and your legacy will no longer in your name, so you will lose your legacy as you sell your company to other investors or potential buyers. For our second alternative, to diversify and hand over company, the benefits is that you ensure Fassler Gourmet will be in good hands.
business risk when you're working.
And here, Mr. Fassler, is our decision criteria. When we were deciding between selling the company versus diversifying and continuing with the company, we picked three key type criteria. The criteria are sustainability, culture, and alignment with your intentions. About talking about sustainability, the benefits of diversifying and handing over your company is instead of continuing on and taking a reactive approach to events that come up, you can take a proactive approach and continue to diversify your product lines and further build your company out so that your company can be even more profitable in the future, and you can also continue to build on your legacy. In terms of culture, there's a lot of stakeholders when you're considering this decision. Your family, your employee families, and yourself. When considering these three parties, you have to consider what effects they have on the others and what is the best decision. You yourself, as an entrepreneur, know the value of your legacy, and Fassler Gourmet is your legacy. And by continuing to diversify, you can focus on this and continue to diversify and improve your company and have your neighbors on it. In addition, your employees and your employee family will continue to have these jobs, and they won't have to go through the trouble of mergers between being bought out and having restructuring process of employment employees. In addition, this also has to align with your intentions. We do want to spend that hard-earned money, but at the same time, if you diversify and hand over your company, you could still continue to enjoy that hard-earned income. In addition, you can still continue to foster your entrepreneur spirit and come up with a new idea, which you're really looking to do. And here's our recommendation. You, Mr. Fassler, you really wanted to continue and build onto a new idea for Fassler Gourmet, which is why we recommend that we suggest that you build a new R&D facility. It focuses on two parts of the strategy. The first one is product innovation and business operations. In terms of product innovation, the R&D facility would be something where there would be a new kitchen, a new facility separate from your current facility. And in this area, you can foster your entrepreneurial spirit and generate a new workforce, a new life force to replace the current workers of your organization. In addition, along with this, it also builds onto the succession plan to replace the current executives and managers of your company. And it creates a better facilitation for a seamlessly easy handoff to new successors of the company. And in addition, this most importantly gives you an opportunity to pursue your passion of entrepreneurship. And here's the cost and benefit of implementing a new R&D facility. As you can see, there are four main activities you must do in order to facilitate the succession plan and the R&D facility. First of all, you have to continue to coach and facilitate the new successors and the new employees. You have to buy the facility for R&D and hire 3 main chefs to take over for the main managers of your company. The benefits is you close the knowledge gap of the company, facilitate your passion of production and innovation, and continue to diversify your product line and give your company new life and new employees.
Now, speaking of Fassler Gourmet, it was funny because my aunt came back from Singapore last week while I was doing this project with my colleagues, and she mentioned she tried Fassler Gourmet's smoked salmon in black peppercorn flavor, and she fell in love with it immediately. And the reason why she fell in love with it is because of your selection, of the innovation that your company brings to the table of smoked So right now you have 3 managers that are running the 7 teams that you have in your company. And so one of them, we want to be eventually the CEO of the company moving forward. And so we're going to essentially evaluate the 3 candidates for a 2-year period and make quarterly evaluations so that you're always on top of the progress and the growth. And make sure that these candidates are aware of the fact that they are going to be the leaders of this company eventually. And lastly, to set these monthly meetings with each candidate to help fill those knowledge gaps that they may have, and also coach them along the way of what Fassler Gourmet is really about. Now, going with the performance evaluation, how are you going to evaluate each individual candidate? We have 4 key things, which is leadership, performance, risk management, and also experience. And I can dive into this a lot more if you have questions moving forward. So now, after you evaluate each candidate, you want to eventually hand over the business to them so that they can control the operations where then you can step back and play more of an advisor role. So after 2 years of coaching and evaluating each candidate, you want to make the decision on which candidate would fill your role. Next, have a 6-month transition plan because there is a lot of business operations that this candidate will need to know and learn from yourself. And 6 months will be plenty of time for them to acquire all that knowledge. And after that, you can then move on to an advisor role and perhaps even continue contributing to the research and development side of Fassler Gourmet. So with the implementation of the research and development facility, like Victor mentioned earlier, the first step is to acquire the facility. And we believe that you don't need a big facility. You need something between 5,000 to 10,000 square feet where it allows you to have room to store products, to test out products, and to see what new flavors can you come up with. Second step is specialization, where we have this facility is specialized for the R&D purposes, not production, not packaging, just R&D. And it's for your own use, because that is what your passions are. And the last one is to make sure that you set up the entire space for your convenience and continue to innovate the equipment and whatnot that you've been doing so well in the past years. Just to quickly go through a timeline, we have, starting from Q1 right now, you will source the new facility and also begin the succession planning stages, making sure candidates understand that the plan is in place and that it will be evaluated quarterly. Next, to build the factory and set it up and hire workers to assist you, essentially newer hires to assist you in the operations of R&D so that they can help you push new products into the market. Now, if you go to the very bottom, coaching mentor does happen through the middle of this year to the end of 2014 to give you enough time to evaluate each candidate. Now, there are 2 key risks that we have today. First is senior employees are exiting faster than you hire, and new factors not cost effective, but we'll discuss that later on. Now, today we have a plan for you, and we're going to get you there.
Okay, stop. Okay. You went 3 seconds long. Okay. Okay. I'm not quite sure what you mean when you say I'm going to hand over the business. Am I selling it to my employees? Am I giving it to my employees? What's my relationship going to be with the business after this handover?
So like I mentioned in the implementation of our plan, once you hand over the business to the candidate, we essentially want you to play an advisor role to oversee the business with the new CEO and whatnot, and not participate in the daily operations, but provide the guidance that they need to make sure that Fassler Gourmet does go on the correct path moving forward.
But I'm still not clear on what this handover means. Am I selling the business to my chosen employee?
No, you're not. You will be the owner of Fassler Gourmet. Essentially, you're just handing over the operations and responsibilities of the business to one of your employees, one of your trusted employees.
Okay. Now, I know you had considered advising me to sell the business. The selling price, you'd given me quite a range from 13.8 million to 41 million. I mean, depending on if I did sell the business, depending on which end of that range I end up at, it's going to drastically change my retirement life. Can you tell me what assumptions underlie those calculations and which you think is more likely?
So with the 13.8 million, at one point, based on the information that you have provided to us, you have given us the revenue and the net income figure then the contribution margin of the company. So with those two information, we have calculated an approximate net income for Bachelor Gourmet of the year, and we divided it by a 10% or 20% interest rate. So that's a very pessimistic calculation of Bachelor Gourmet. That is why we believe that if you sell Bachelor Gourmet, you will have at least 13.8 million. But as you have added more products to the company, if you increase the contribution margin of Bachelor Gourmet, we believe that your net income for Bachelor Gourmet would increase, and 20% interest rate is a relatively pessimistic calculation. We calculated we divided the net income figure with different interest rates, 10%, 15% to 5%, and we come up with $41.4 million. And we believe that you can sell Bachelor Gourmet around the upper range of this range.
Okay. You've been talking about new products. I mean, what new products should I be concentrating on? If the company is going to grow and expand, you're talking about a new facility. What am I going to be doing in it?
So we want you to get back to what it is you love doing in work. So by getting back into the kitchen and getting back to your roots as a chef, we want you to start working on all those different ideas that you've had recently in terms of coming up with different flavors of smoked salmon, different flavors of smoked seafood, and just overall adding to your entire product line. As you've stated, you don't compete based on your price. You compete on how differentiated your product is. So in a company such as yours, innovation is very key. We want you to make sure that your focus remains on that. If you're to sell your company to a larger company, and they change your strategy towards a price-driven, cost-driven organization, your company's going to lose that innovation. So we want to make sure that our recommendation goes back to what you're passionate about and allows you to give you the freedom by relieving those business operations duties. You're able to focus on that product development and be able to add consistently to your wide range of products.
But who's going to buy these new products? Am I selling just different things to my same customers? Am I going after new markets?
Currently, the way that we saw this new facility is to produce new flavors for existing market, because your existing market loves your company simply because of the different unique flavors that you offer. And we believe that there's a ton of new flavors that are out there for you to explore and look into. So this facility will provide the kind of foundations for that research development of new products moving forward.
But if it's just new flavors and the same customers, I mean, how much fish can an average Singaporean buy? I mean, will I not be losing out on old products if I introduce new products? I'm not quite sure how I'm going to find the customer volume to justify this new facility you're suggesting.
Currently, you're selling to retail customers, sandwich outlets, airlines, and many more customers. So as retail industry expands, they will need more of your products. In addition, the sandwich outlets are doubling in volume every year. there's still a large increase in demand over the years.
Okay. What about the airline? Should I be focused on them more heavily? Or is it going to be the retail customer?
We think that it's important that you continue your focus on industries that are more or less recession-proof. So when we're looking at something like a grocery store, where if the average GDP is decreasing, the amount that's spending at grocery stores increases because people are going out to eat. They're spending their money on groceries. So we want you to continue to focus on those industries, such as the grocery markets that are less risk averse, or sorry, that are more risk averse, so that you're able to have a solid stability when it comes to the products you're offering. When looking at something like airlines, the trend has been moving towards cheaper food. People are looking to save money as much as possible when they're traveling. They're not looking for high quality gourmet seafood that you offer. So we don't see the growth coming from regions such as airlines, or such as even so much restaurants, but the ones that are continuously offering that stable demand for your product, such as the sandwich shops, as Felix mentioned, and the grocery stores.
Okay. This new facility that you're talking about, how much is it going to cost me to open that up?
Here, to buy the facility for R&D, it would cost approximately 2 million SGD, and to move the kitchen and prepare the R&D facility, it's another 2 million. We decided to use your budget of 5.4 million as a figure to just to have a conservative estimate as to how much you should spend on a new research facility.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by research facility. I mean, is this going to be a production kitchen for me, or is it just where I'm going to be testing new products?
So it offers a flexible way of not only developing new products, but training new employees. And in the long term, it could be potentially moved towards a production facility. So the way that we envisioned it was to be able to bring in a few young chefs who would hopefully continue on in your company. They would be able to work alongside you to learn the ways that you have developed through your 23 years of experience. So through this, you're not only researching and developing new types of fish, you can also have the potential for a retail section of that research and development in order to test those new products. That way you're able to get the instant customer feedback from people who are trying out your new creations. In the long run, when you're looking to retire and move on from this company, we see this as something that could be potentially changed into a production facility. So as you've told us, you've been very successful at creating a very adaptable environment within your production facilities. So we want you to use your creativity and use that passion for creating to build a kitchen that will be able to provide that service of training those employees until they're ready to come into your company, and down the road be able to transform it potentially into something that produces and packages and increases your production capacity. As you've mentioned, you think it's very important to continuously review and look back on the decisions you've made. So as part of this, we would want you to make sure that throughout the years that you're working within this research and development building and facility, we want you to look back after every year, every 6 months, potentially every quarter, to make sure that the impact that you're getting out of it, so the products that you're getting out of it, are actually adding to your profitability. And if they're not, that's when we can start looking towards adapting it towards more of a production focus. But we believe that this space can be used no matter what you decide to focus on. The reason why we wanted to focus on that R&D was to get your passion.
Way too long an answer.
Yeah.
You lost me there. Why am I buying it? To me, this seems like a very expensive little test kitchen. I'm not quite sure that if I'm training 3 chefs, it's going to take that long to train them. And how many possible products do I want to introduce? that I would be continually doing R&D in a facility that's going to cost this much. So 2 million Singaporean dollars. Couldn't I just rent space if I needed it temporarily to train my chefs? Why do I need to buy it?
So essentially, this R&D facility could have the potential to turn into a production facility. That's why when we are talking about which criteria is to look at when acquiring a property, we look at growth capability in terms of growing in terms of production capacity in the property. Say if it's possible to add a second floor, or if it's possible to buy a property nearby so to add to your production capacity.
So this $2 million new facility, how much extra capacity is that going to give me? How big is this new facility compared to my existing kitchen and production?
For R&D purposes or production purposes?
Well, you're telling me it can be both. It can be R&D in the beginning and it can become a production facility.
So in terms of production capability, 5,000 square foot would be 25% of your current facility's size. So believe that 5,000 square foot would be 25% more production capacity to your company.
Okay.
And not only the R&D building could be used for training, research and development purposes, it could also act as a retail store for you to continue to sell those retail products to more customers.
Okay. I can't read it very well here. The hire 3 chefs, how much is that going to cost me?
It's going to cost $72,000.
Okay, so that million should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I'd like to be one of their chefs.
I know, I love that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You can just.
Can we go to the recommendation? So I didn't read the case because I just got here, so if there's something in the case I don't know, just let me know. Could you guys talk a bit more about what R&D is in terms of my business? Like, what am I looking for? What am I trying to develop? What innovation or what direction should I be headed for? Or am I just putting money and saying, find something new?
Well, the R&D facility is actually really, really important to your to the strategy because of succession planning. Your workforce, the average age of your workforce is approximately 55 years old. So you really have to focus on a solid human resources strategy and build that into your company so then your company can go everlasting and earn a lot of money. And in addition to that, the R&D facility also is a way to take a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. In the past, how your company, you had to constantly think of ideas to react to a recession and come with new ideas. The airline customers were no longer buying your products as often. You had to think of a new idea. But by having an R&D facility to think of new ideas, train new chefs, and in addition to foster product innovation, it puts you ahead of the game.
So my R&D is basically researching HR policies and risk management.
No. It's sorry about that. It's more of a
Risk management?
having new executives to take over, having people trained. In addition, it also creates new products. And in addition, when you retire, you can also turn it into a production
Okay.
facility.
So that being said, this kind of sounds.
Good. Sorry, I'm just going to clarify a few things. So the R&D facility will be used primarily to research new recipes and new
Okay.
smoked salmons or smoked seafood and whatnot, especially the exotic fishes that you've been working with a lot. And that's one of the key kind of differentiators of your company. So we want to further that development, and so we can deliver more products to customers rather than waiting for customers to tell us, hey, we need new products, right? So you can deliver more flavors to them.
Do you feel like that's super necessary? I mean, like, I'm getting old, I'm 51, I kind of want to get out of this situation. And if you look at my company since 2001, I've been growing every year almost. The only flat spot I've had was during 2005, and that was when there was a want me to employ new employees, look for new products, and just keep innovating and building this company. But I'm at the stage where I kind of want to retire, right? And you're kind of telling me to start a new company almost. So can you talk a bit about my well-being and my passion for retirement?
Absolutely. More than your passion for retirement is your passion to innovate and your passion to create these new products for your customers. And we saw that from the information that we've gathered through our research of your company and the history of yourself as an entrepreneur and as a chef. And so we want to bring you back to that passion that started you off with Faster Gourmet and put you in a place where you can actually dedicate all your time to innovation and to further your product line at Faster Gourmet.
Okay, so when do I get to retire? Like, do I ever get to retire? This is-
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why we have an exit strategy for yourself
okay.
as the head of the company. Once the new candidate kind of have been selected, we have that transition period, the 6-month transition period, along with putting you into an advisor role rather than in a operational role.
Okay, awesome.
And as an advisor, am I going to take a salary out of the business? Or am I just going to maintain my ownership share?
For the advisor role, you would maintain your ownership share as a sole owner. And salary, it really depends on yourself, whether you need that or not. But essentially, we see you being there to make sure that the company still runs smoothly and under your philosophy of delivering phenomenal products to the market.
Can you go to the timeline real quick? I just want to see my timeline. Because I think you wanted me to build and modify an entire factory in 3 quarters. So do you know where I could, or how I could do that? Like, where can I get the land?
So based on the research we've done, we were quite impressed by how quickly you set up the facility that you're currently in. The modifications, the creations that you made to actually outfit that factory before the government had even granted you the licenses to build. So we believe that this is a realistic timeline based on the way that you work and based on the drive that you'll be given by the opportunity to create again.
Okay.
We were a much smaller business back then, though.
Yeah.
And now we're a much bigger business. I mean, I think it's going to be hard for us to move as quickly.
To add on Jordan's point, one of the key success factors of your company is the low optimization of your production facility. So the major capital assets that you will have to acquire and to renovate is actually the smoking chamber and maybe the storage facility for the fishes. We believe that the smoking chamber, which you have already designed it, will take within this period of time to be completed. And when sourcing a new factory or a new production facility, you can always look for facility that have been used for similar purposes. That way you will minimize your cost of renovating or improving the current structure, and you can start producing or research and developing as soon as you can.
Okay.
Are we going to stay in Singapore? I mean, Singapore is one of the world's most expensive cities as far as real estate goes. I mean, could we think about moving our facilities offshore?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And that's something that we've thought about because my aunt's actually from China. And when she mentioned that she tasted your products in Singapore, she really wanted to see China. And so there are a lot of overlaps with cultural tastes with different regions in the Asia Pacific. And we see an opportunity to actually expand to these other Asian countries as you develop new products for these markets. So with regards to your question, we believe that moving forward in the future, in the near future actually, there's a lot of expansion opportunities for your company.
Okay. So basically, with the recommendation, the end goal is you're going to get me to an advisor role. By the end of the day, you're going to build this company, it's going to look really good, and then within time, I'll transition to the board. What if I just sold, not the entire company, but just the majority of the company, get to the board right away, and have someone else deal with all of that? Have you guys thought of something like that? Where I can sell, let's say, like 95% of the shares or something, own 5%, maybe they'll put me on the board as part of the agreement?
sell your company and become ambassador, it's a lot faster, but are you going to be able to keep it the way you wanted it and the name of the company? We think that it's unlikely.
Okay, thank you.
Well, maybe I don't want to sell 95%, but what if I were to sell, say, 40%? Do you have any concerns that I'm putting a lot of faith in these employees that I hope are going to step up and I'm going to be able to identify someone to take over from me? But perhaps that person isn't going to be satisfied with just a salary. Do you think I'm going to have to offer part ownership to whoever my successor is to get him to stay with the company?
Absolutely. And as your company grows, we see that opportunity for you to introduce a profit sharing program or an equity sharing program for your executives or managers. And so by not selling out too much of your ownership now, you can leverage that power that you have moving forward once you've identified the different candidates for executive positions within Fast and Gourmet. So once a new candidate is chosen, you can work with them, negotiate with them to discuss how much ownership you would give them or sell to them as part of the succession planning.
And what would you recommend? How much ownership should I give up, or could I give up before I run into problems?
Absolutely. We strongly believe that to start off, maximum 10%, because you want to preserve majority of the rights for your company, but you also want to plan ahead, because if you give too much share ownership to this one candidate or this one successor of yours, what happens down the road to the next candidates and whatnot. So we want to make sure that you're able to preserve majority of ownership within the company and still be able to give some sort of factor for your successors to operate as if they own the company as well.
And how would I determine if I was going to sell 10% to successor number one? How would I determine the value? How much would I ask him to pay? Would I just give him shares, or would I sell him shares?
We believe that giving him share, we don't, although we stated a maximum threshold of 10%, we start with small, so it can be considered as a step forward to putting that as executive contract. And so giving a relatively less percentage in the beginning would help him to step up to become the top manager of the company.
So I have one last question. So you have 3 people that you think can be CEO, and one of them's going to get the shares in your company and a way bigger salary. How are you going to deal with the other 2 people that you said have a chance of being CEO, and all of a sudden, sorry, you're not CEO? So how are you kind of going to break the news to them, and how are you going to, keep the amazing work environment that we have in our company? How are you, without losing the 2 managers that you rejected? So.
We believe that this goes back to company culture. All 3 managers have been with the company for 15, 18 years, and they've gone through thick and thin with yourself. And so we strongly believe that although one of them will be chosen to be a successor of you, the other 2 won't necessarily take it as a negative position, because they understand that you chose that individual for the greater good of the company. And that's why our recommendation of creating both R&D facility and a succession plan is to help you move forward in the right direction for the long run. Not just a short-term recommendation, but a long-run recommendation. And so we believe that with clear communication, everyone will understand your decision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we stop at that? Okay, let me figure out how to do this here.